mine is the last. Probably you always keep the best for the last, right? So measuring technology use in classrooms is my active research. Basically, why I wanted to do this is I've been in technology for nearly 16 years, out of which 12 years as tech director. And every time you go into the classroom, teachers try to do their best to use technology in the classroom. And always, how do you know that this is their best? Or how do you know that they have improved from what they were doing before? So I want to measure qualitatively, basically, how this technology used in the classroom is going. So that's one thing. And the second thing is I need a tool for the teacher to use it as a self-evaluation tool. And at the same time, okay, this is what I did, I should have done this. Or I should use this tool to plan for my next lesson. That's one thing. And the second thing is basically an administrator walks into a classroom and he sees that basically, okay, teachers are using technology. Okay, check mark. I mean, what does that mean? I mean, what is the difference between a teacher who is really using well and a teacher using just for using sake, right? That must be a qualitative measurement. So I want a tool for that as well. And at the same time, as a tech director, my focus is on training the teachers. Training the teachers in the sense that I need to know this teacher is doing well, this teacher is not doing well in this area. So I need to provide support for her. So how do I measure that? So for all these things, that's my context with that. So I wanted to develop a measuring tool. And at the same time, I wanted to develop a tool which is simple, straightforward, and user-friendly. It should not have any complex edtech words and all these things. Then the teachers will, come on, I don't understand even what he or she is meaning. So that's what I wanted. That I want a simple, straightforward, and user-friendly tool. So this was my overarching question: how do effectively teachers engage students in active learning of collaboration, knowledge, real-world problem solving, self-regulation, and communication using technology? That's the overarching question. That was going in my mind. Then, based on that, how can I create a tool, a rubric that can be used both for planning technology use in classroom and as well to assess technology use in the classroom. So that became my critical question. I did a literature review with a number of literature, but these three are the key. This Microsoft ITL project, this is the project is employed in different countries, especially in Africa, where they're trying to measure the technology use in the classroom. And the second document is, we are an IB school. We have 3 programs, PYP, MYP, and DP. That is a very clear definition. I wouldn't say very clear, but that is a definition for role of ICT in the PYP program and not in MYP and DP. So that's why I used that one as well. And then this is a very interesting literature on the impact of ICTs on learning and achievement. We have been using ICT for nearly 20 plus years, and then the body of research that have come out, how much it's been impacting on learning, teaching and learning. So these are the things I did, and then methodology-wise, I developed a tool, and I used it to measure 3 different units in 3 different grades. So what I did was basically I chose PYP and MYP classrooms. One of the things in DP classrooms is more on exam focused. So that exactly technology is not used very much in those classes. So I used PYP and MYP classes. In the PYP class, I took a grade 5 classroom. In that classroom, they use a end of the year project called Final Exhibition. What the students do is basically they take a topic of interest, of their curiosity, they research that, and then they develop an understanding and they present to others. That's what the whole idea behind the Finalize project. So I took that as one of my intervention. So what I did is I employed all this because I expected more use of technology in that particular unit. So that's what I wanted to do. So when I did the whole, this one I took very well used, or a unit that has a lot of potential for technology. I chose a unit which has got very less potential for technology, and I chose another unit in between. And also I chose 3 different subjects, so that, we can also see how it can be measured in different levels. And 3 different grades. One is at grade 4 level, at grade 5, and then I did a grade 6 at the moment. So, the classroom observation, interviews. Classroom observation is one, I walked into the classrooms whenever they are using technology, and then I interviewed the students about why they do certain things that way, and what, how it really, improved, or how it really be useful for them to doing that. And then I had some artifacts, basically starting from the lesson plan to what are the documents being given to the students. And then I had a feedback from the teacher, as well as we also have tech integration coaches at different levels. So I also asked the tech integration coach to give me feedback. So what I did basically is, after going through all these things, as I said, I developed a tool. On the tool, I placed this particular unit in terms of technology, which I'm going to explain in a minute. So, and then I gave that back to the teacher, as well as to the tech integration coach, and then they provided feedback whether it really captured what they did in the classroom or not. So that's what I did, and use all the data to triangulate to make it valid. Every phase was analyzed, and then once the phase was over, then after a little analysis, then the next phase was adjusted based on the previous analysis. And then when I took the final analysis, I stacked all the data, found out the consistencies and inconsistencies, missing elements, and adjusted the rubric based on the feedback and the data that provided. And then I interpreted that. That's what the whole process was. The story, as I said, the initial dilemma, first I wanted to use the Microsoft tool. That's the Microsoft ITL has got a tool. So I thought I will use that tool. And then that's how it started off, and then I was not very much convinced with that. So and then I looked at 2 other tools, and then I thought, no, I should develop my own tool. That would have been a better thing to do. So then I did my own tool, and that's what I'm going to show you. And then using the tool, when I did all the interventions, and finally when I got all the feedback, then I was able to modify that to the level that it's useful. The tool, how to use it, this is the tool. I'm really proud about it. And in the sense, if you look at all the literature and the data, and the studies involved in all these things, you will find out that the ICT is used in education only for 3 purposes. One is for knowledge construction. Knowledge construction in the sense for investigation, interpretation, analysis, and those types of things is what it's used for. And second thing is for collaboration, basically to work with you or work with the teacher and those types of things. And the third one is for sharing knowledge or communication, like presenting information or communicating what they learned and those types of things. And that is the 4th one, which I also added to it because the responsible use of technology is part of the teaching learning process. Though it is not directly involved in the teaching learning process, but that has to be part of that. So I included the digital sheet as well. So if you look at the tool, on the left hand side you will see what are the categories. On the right hand side you see 4 different columns which says no use, passive, active, and interactive. Okay, as I said, I want to keep it simple. At the same time, it should be pretty straightforward and user-friendly, right? And I wanted to go for basically a rubric which is an even number, like it's a 4-point or a 6-point or whatever it is. So I chose 4-point, basically the reason being, even number rubrics give you a very clearer picture than the odd number rubrics. In the even number rubrics, you can say it is there or it is not there. So the first 2 will say it's not doing well. The other 2 will say it's really doing well. Okay, that's one thing. And second thing, always statistically, if it is a odd number rubric, you end up in the middle. I mean, so then I thought, okay, I'll use an even number rubric that will clearly define this. And then when you look at this one, my definitions are all on the top, you can see that. For knowledge construction, you can see ICT is not used for this purpose. Then it's a basic use, partially used for knowledge construction. Then ICT is used to support knowledge construction. That's the definition for that. And then ICT is essential for knowledge construction. So I mean, then they can clearly distinguish, okay, this is what the purpose is. And below, all these are examples. I mean, it is not something set on stone. It is very open-ended. The examples, you can do an activity and you can place on that and see where it fits exactly. That's how it is. So if I'm giving to a teacher to do this, this is basically overall with examples. I would give only the top lines and on the ones on the white, and the colored ones I won't give them. It will be an empty this one. So they can place their activity in those where it fits, and then they can measure. That's what the whole idea is. Okay, and then what happened was after going through all the implementation, then this is the revised rubric. So not much of change, except that some of the examples, they wanted to redefine some of them. So you can see these colors here, different color. That shows that those are the changes that was brought up. And then that has been included on the example side. Other than that, nothing happened much. Okay, that's the revised one. And then you can see those ones which I applied to the yellow ones are the ones, the particular class, the unit is using. So those are the ones you're seeing. These are the ones I gave it to the teachers as my measurement. And then they basically gave me feedback on that. That's all. Right. All right. And what are the next steps? One thing is next year we are going to implement this in my school. Basically what we are going to do is I'm going to run a sort of orientation for the teachers, how they could use it. And also my tech integration coaches will use it to measure different units at different levels. And also our administrators also will use this tool when they are doing evaluation. And then I didn't want to leave it as I don't think that it is perfect right now. Still, there's got a lot of room for growth. So it's open for others to use it and provide feedback. One of the thoughts was, right now I've done a 4-point rubric. I mean, I'd like to make it into 6, which much more added, because the last part which says just interactive, which says that is essential for construction, I'd like to make it much more like innovative and those types of things, much more define more the last column. So probably it might become a 6.2. That's what I'm thinking after getting more feedback from that. So for this, I developed a site for people to give some feedback on that. So it clearly defines basically what happened, what is the technology used, what is the tool is about, gives you the tool here, and how to use the tool, and also about the action research and all my data. All those things are given here, notes. And there's a provision for feedback here, and then people can give feedback. Right? Don't need a permission for that. And there's about an author, if they want to contact me over email or anything, they take care of that. That's what the idea is. Right. So that's what the whole idea is. This is my, thank you.